Hey guys, Leslie Draper here, and we are live. So I'm going to give everybody a minute to get on board, and I'm going to take my laptop to the event. And okay, we are live, and here we go. Okay, awesome sauce. All right, I had the camera. I'm really picky about how the camera is, because then it's distracting if I'm flipped. And so I had to fix that really quickly. Okay, so thank you for being patient. I know I was a few minutes late. I have just felt really funky today. The energy's been really, really funky. So even my blood pressure, which never goes high, was high, and I got a really bad migraine from it, and it's like so unusual. So there's definitely some funky energy around. Feeling better now. Use my essential oils, did some meditating, and back online. Okay, so let me pull up our questions. So in these live events, I think I'm going to keep doing. I did one because somebody asked me to, and then I thought, what a great opportunity it is to be able to get a message. It's not expensive, and if I do them online, I'm not having to go and pay for space. So that keeps it even more affordable, because the challenge is always space. Places that I've called, it's $400 to rent a room for 2 hours. So this is definitely the more economical way of doing this. So I think I'm just going to keep offering one of these a month. Probably try to stay under 13 people, because it gets difficult to give messages to more than that many people in a single setting, especially if you're trying to hurry. So if you have a question, keep it to one or two. That way everybody has time for a message. And if there's time at the end, I can always open it back up and we can go back through the questions. But I just want to make sure that everybody gets something. I have a list of everybody that got their tickets right here. And so that's the list we'll be going off of. Now, as I get started, for those of you that were in the last gallery, so for those of you that did the one just a couple weeks ago, I was able to pull it off Facebook and I uploaded it to YouTube. So I posted a link in that old event, but if you can't find it, send me a message and I'll send you the direct link. So that old that old gallery, the one we did a couple weeks ago, you will be able to access it probably forever, because that's where it is. And if you want to, leave a comment after it, that would be great. So anyway, it's available for you. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and let's open, because I haven't done any intuitive work today at all. Let's go ahead and open with a prayer, call in our angels, call in our loved ones, and Jen, just start knocking these out of the park. Sound like a good idea? Okay. If you decide to post live chat, hi Paula, hi Francine, the chances of me seeing it the first time around may be slim, so I'm not ignoring it if I don't address it. Post it back, especially if I'm talking to you, definitely keep posting. But I'll have on this side over here, I'm going to have the laptop with the event pulled up, the Facebook event, so I can look at your questions and see that there. And then here on my cell phone, I have the live feed with, it's kind of works like a chat room, so you post it and I should see it within just a few seconds. Okay. All right, well, let's go ahead and open our space. And just because you'll see me using a lot of peppermint oil today, it's going to help me keep my headache at bay and help me be able to stay really clear and really focused. Peppermint oil is amazing for that. So, okay, I just want you to focus on your breathing. Breathe in white light. And exhale out everything else. Breathe in peace. Breathe in love. Breathe in oneness. And then let go of the day. Let go of everything else that's on your mind. Just coming present into God light. Breathe in God light. And exhale out everything else. Benevolent, loving presence of God. Archangels and angels. Holy Spirit. Christ, we call upon you now. We ask that every message that comes through be for the highest and greatest good of each person listening. We ask that each person be offered the information, guidance, and insight that they need to move forward, feeling loved, protected, and directed. We offer our love and gratitude as we open this sacred space for your divine wisdom and grace. In Christ's name we pray, and so it is. Amen. Perfect. Okay, room full of angels. Okay, so I'm going to try to go... Well, let me ask you, does anyone, like, you cannot stay the whole 2 hours. You know that you only have like an hour, and then you'll be checking out. If you only have an hour and it's important that your message come first at the beginning, tell me that. And I'll make sure I get to yours first. Otherwise, I'm just going to go down the list. Okay. And that it does put them in, well, this is alphabetical order. Maybe I'll go down the list you posted your questions. I think that's more fair. I'll go down the list that you posted your questions. Okay. So pulling that list up now. Okay. So Sherry Payne wrote, did my husband meet our new great-granddaughter before she was born? Absolutely, he did. Absolutely. And, he will be able to connect to all of them before all of those children that are going to be coming into the family. He will have like first dibs. He gets to meet that soul and be with that soul before anyone else does. So absolutely. Now I'm going to look and see if you posted another question down the road here. This is where that's where this method might not be the best. Okay. If there's time, my brother passed 5 years ago. If he'd like to come forward, I'd like to hear from him. Right now, Sherry, all I have is your husband coming through. So we'll give your brother a minute and see if he will come through. I'll make a note here to check for brother. But what your husband also is saying is he's watching you slowly but surely begin to, what's the word I want? Focus on you. Begin to focus on living your life and making your choices for you. You spent your entire life living for everyone else. You spent your entire life, trying to take care of everyone else's needs, including his, by the way. And now he's saying he's so happy to see you stepping into taking care of you and doing that. He shows me some traveling, some joyful activities, things with friends, and he says, go do it all. Go do everything you can. You're safe. You're protected. Go travel. He is saying to keep, make sure that you're putting yourself first. And, he's grateful that you're always willing to put him first, to take care of him. And he's grateful for that, but he sees now that he never should have, asked you to make some of the decisions he had you make. So he's asking you to put you first, and that includes, like adult children, and that includes the generation above you and your generation, friends, siblings, anyone like that. He's saying to make sure that you're putting your needs first and you're taking care of you first. And that's so important. Okay. He's saying to go on. He sees lots of fun stuff, lots of trips, lots of joyful activities. And he's saying, go do it all. You're safe. Go have fun. Go enjoy yourself. He just lots and lots of enjoyment. He also says that, you are a wonderful person and people love you and they love to be around you and they love to be near you. And so share yourself. Let people love you, let people help you, let people step up and take care of you. And he's saying to do that, really let yourself be the recipient of what you've so freely given for so long. Okay. And then we'll just see if your brother comes through. I made a note to check on him. Okay. Now, with that, Archangel Michael is saying, take medical things seriously right now. So go get your checkups, go do whatever it is you need to do. Don't ignore symptoms. They're not predicting anything horrible and major is wrong, but what they're saying is it's time to take care of your own health and make your health a priority. So do whatever that means to you for being responsible for your health and taking care of yourself, okay? Really. So checkups, conversations, don't put off things, have everything looked at so that in the event that something should go wrong, you're catching it really early on. So just take care of yourself is what Archangel Michael's saying for you. Okay. All right. So let me go back here to the group, and I believe Katie was next. Okay. Katie, a couple. Spirit can decide what I need to hear and what is causing my husband's physical pain. And do I have any specific spiritual abilities that I should work on? Okay, so Katie, with the spiritual abilities, that level of empath for you, is always kind of cranked up. And you need to work on, let me make a note here. You need to work on how to hold space for someone, how to be like a prayer warrior, if you will. A prayer warrior is someone who holds a prayer and a vision for an outcome, even if that person can't do it themselves. Okay, this is someone like, for example, if your husband's not feeling well physically, and your prayer warrior would pray for his healing and hold a vision of him healed until he could get there himself. Spirit's asking you to do that, to see your power as someone who can hold space, someone who can pray someone into wellness, someone who can hold the energy for each other. That peppermint's making my nose itch. Sorry, I apologize. And to do that, also your empath level can sometimes be on overdrive, so you need to really work on how to block some of that, so you're not absorbing so much of the energies around you. So very important that you're doing that you learn how to block some of those energies. Clairsentience is your strongest gift. Make a note. Clairsentience is the gift of what I feel. So that is, you have the ability to really step into someone else's feelings and feel what they feel. And then also feel messages from spirit. So if someone's really sad, you may be able to just feel God's love just coming down through you and into them. So clairsentience is the strongest gift you need to work on. I think you have total potential for clairaudience, which is hearing, and clairvoyance, which is seeing, but you need to get mastery over the clairsentience first, because that's an easier gift for you. The others are going to require more work, more trust, more faith, and that kind of energy. Okay, now for your husband's pain, let me ask Archangel Michael, what's going on with her husband's pain? Okay. You could probably find a naturopathic doctor or a chiropractor or someone. He needs to have his food tested for food allergies. The way Spirit is showing me this is he is regularly eating something, okay, that is causing here's where it's tricky. It's not causing massive levels of inflammation in his body. Okay, it's causing mild to maybe moderate levels of inflammation. That is creating weak points that is causing pain. So it's not just a one thing. It's like this domino effect of several things. Okay, Katie's there's my screen. Is that making sense? I haven't even checked to see if any was posted back in the room here. Okay. So he does, first and foremost, he needs to get some type. They can do muscle testing, and muscle testing is it's a form of kinesiology testing, and that is where you hold this, like what you're going to eat over your heart with your left hand. If you're right handed, put your right hand out, and then someone presses down on that arm, and if your energetic integrity is maintained, you can resist them pushing down on your arm. But if what you're eating is toxic to you or poison to you, then you can't, and your arm falls. And she said, yes, it's only after he eats. Yes, he's eating something that is just inflammatory enough. I mean, it's not like a full-blown food allergy where he's going into shock. And that's a good idea. Paula said, see if there's an NAET practitioner in your area. Might be one in Oklahoma City. I don't think there's one in Norman. But it's not enough that like he's gonna break out in hives and need an EpiPen. It's just enough of a sensitivity that it's affecting the inside, and that inside is then causing just enough inflammation that it's compromising areas. And so if one more person sends me that do not accept a friend request from Jaden Smith, I think I'm going to lose my mind. I've gotten that thing 50 times today. And people, if there's a virus in it, there's probably a virus in what you're forwarding. So, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so, and then Katie was also, what should you do career-wise? Sister, I've told you so many times, that you, and Katie's a friend too. I don't normally talk to people like this, but she's very gifted. She doesn't charge a fair rate for her stuff. She way undercharges, okay? And if she were to even apply the tiniest bit of social media marketing, her business would explode overnight and she would be booked up forever, but she doesn't want that. And so she just, yeah, I'll talk to you about that one tomorrow when I come see you for you to do my hair, because that's tomorrow. Yeah, so that's what you need to do with your career. My gosh. Crazy girl. Okay, moving on. All right, let me get Katie marked off here. Oh, it only printed one page of my list. That's not good. Hold on, I was trying to figure out what is wrong with my list. It only printed one page. Okay. All right, well, I'll keep up with it with the Facebook group, make sure. I just feel like blah sometimes. Yeah, I know. It's because you're not inspiring yourself. Because it's become a job that you show up and you do. It's not become something that you're feeling inspired, so you want to go out and share that inspiration with others. It's become too blah. It's become too routine. It's become a clock in, clock out kind of thing. And that's why you feel so blah about it. But it doesn't have to be that way. You could completely reinvent this and make it phenomenal. And make it be something that you are challenging yourself. You're getting challenged by others. That you're having promotions and running contests and having this huge social media presence. You could just knock this out of the park. But you have to want to. You have to want to. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Okay, so next comes up Paula. So, I had a good friend transition in a vehicle accident about 6 weeks ago. I feel like he's trying to tell me something because I keep seeing cars just like the one he was killed in and keep hearing songs that he really liked from the 80s on the radio. Are you able to tell me what message he's trying to convey? 6 weeks is really short. Let me see. Maybe I can get an angel to help. Archangel Michael, can you help me find Paula's friend? Okay. So, he's still trying to transition. To be honest, he's not finding his way yet. And I think that part of what's going on here is he's asking for help in finding his way. Can you give me an example of one of the songs? What's one of the songs that you hear that he loved? Paula thought maybe it was way too soon. Well, yes and no. Yes and no. It's too soon for him to be fully transcended. Janet Jackson. Okay. what we're going to do is at the end, I'm going to make a note, and then at the very end tonight, we're going to call him in and we're going to help him cross. Okay? So, but I have no idea how long that will take. That could take 5 seconds or it could take an hour. So I'm going to save it for the end. But at the very end, we're going to help him go ahead and cross into spirit. That way he can start healing and be okay. It's like think of it like there's a door to get into heaven. There's not really, but just pretend there's a door, and he's all around the door, right? And so anytime he goes this way, he kind of reaches out to you, and then is his name really Robert Bishop? Are you kidding me? That's not crazy at all. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll call him in and help him cross at the end. And that's really funny that's really his name for a lot of reasons. Okay, but we'll call him in at the end. Okay, and we'll see what he needs to do, because it sounds to me like he has he hasn't been able to just go all the way through because he's got some things either unsaid, undone, or he's a little fearful. So we'll call him in and we'll help him cross. But Spirit is saying, Archangel Michael is saying, good job on knowing that it's him, knowing that he was trying to get through, that he was trying to come through, and he was trying to get some help, because he is, and he is needing some help. So good job on that, the angels say. Excellent job on that. I also hear for you, Paula, full steam ahead. Full steam ahead. Keep your eye on your destination and just go for it. Okay? Just go for that destination. Don't worry about what's over here or what's over here. You just go for it. And that's what the angels have to say. They are definitely, you have just this whole army of angels with you right now, helping you move forward, helping you find your path, find your new path, and in healing and helping others and being of service. You are just surrounded by an army of angels saying, we've got your back, girl, we've got your back, let's go. Okay, let's see here. Okay, going on. Robin says, I lost my mom December 29th. Grief has overcome me. I just want to make sure she is okay and with my dad. Robin, my condolences on your mother. Let's see what we can find out, okay? Okay, I'm going to ask Archangel Michael. We're looking for Robin's mom. Okay, mom is fully transcended. Fully transcended. She is with your dad. She's also with what I'm assuming are her parents and her grandparents, because I don't just see her with your dad. I see her with lots of people. Lots of people that she's with. I see lots of birds around your mom, especially a red bird. Lots of birds, and especially a red bird. I see them all, her just feeling so at peace, surrounded by nature, surrounded by the red birds. She is quite, I asked for her forgiveness for what I put her through and not being there for anymore. Okay. Your mom says to tell you that there's not anything to forgive, okay? That she loves you and she knows you love her, and that is what matters. The thing is, she says, is she sees now exactly what you've been dealing with, on your own path and in your own life. And she's feeling regret that she didn't have the ability to understand more fully where you were, and what you were contending with and what you were dealing with because she's saying, I honestly didn't know. I honestly didn't understand. I honestly didn't know. And so she's asking for your forgiveness as well. Um, there's not anything a mother wouldn't do to help her child, is what she says. Um, and if she could do anything right now, she would bring you comfort and tell you how deeply you matter, how deeply she loves you, and that, this is not to say that things weren't tough or things weren't hard, because they were. But where she is now, she has the ability to see things more clearly than you or I. And, she loves you very much. I see her surrounded, not just birds, but flowers around her, birds around her, particularly red birds around her. So if you start seeing a lot of red birds, that would be a sign from your mom that she's sending a sign back that she's okay. Your dad is also wanting to express his love as well. Now, who is male in spirit that really loved to fish? He really loved to fish. He wanted to be outside, outdoors, kind of country, maybe even wore overalls. I don't know if overalls are literal or metaphorical, but I see him in overalls, loving fishing, loving being outside, loving driving a pickup. Male. Do you know who that is? If you look back here. There's a little bit of a delay. I know. Your grandfather. Okay, great. He's coming through as well. So he's coming through to show his support. He says that, well, actually, it's the consensus. So it's your dad, it's your grandfather, and it's your mom. All saying that you're gonna have to hold boundaries with those that are trying to put their burdens on you, because you don't need their burdens. And your grandpa's saying sometimes, you got to put those boundaries and pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and be willing to take care of you, be willing to do what you need to do. And so they're all giving you their support, grandfather, mom, and dad. And so I understand that you feel guilty about in the way you feel like you should have been there for your mom, or could have been there for your mom, but she's not holding on to that, so neither should you. She's very peaceful. She's where she needs to be. She is, reunited with her family, her parents, her grandparents, and reunited with your dad. And so that's what they have to say. But watch for those red birds, okay? Because I definitely see a lot of red birds hanging around. And who said that? Okay, your dad says to tell you to pay more attention when you're driving. Okay, sorry to get driving lessons from Spirit, but you are. Your dad says to tell you to pay more attention when you're driving. That sometimes you're absent-minded and you're not paying enough attention when you're driving, and so you need to do whatever you need to do to really get your focus, so that you're paying really close attention when you're driving. Because they're doing all they can to protect you from there, but they say they need your help down here. And so, anything that's going to distract you while driving, don't do it. They say, don't do it, but pay lots of attention when you're driving. Isn't that funny? All the way from heaven to give you driving lessons. Okay. Okay, let's see what else comes through. Moving on. Your mom wants to say one more thing before I move on. And she says, Robin, if you hear nothing else, hear this. I love you. I love you. Our relationship wasn't easy. It was complicated. We were both too stubborn sometimes, to be willing to meet each other in the middle. And the only thing that really matters now is how much I love you, and I love you. And that is what she's saying to you. And she means it. I can feel it. She means it. So, time to let go of that guilt. You don't need it. You don't need it weighing you down. You don't need it pulling you back. It's time to let go of that because she's not holding on to it. So neither should you. Okay. Marina, my sleeping patterns have gone from a chronic, very challenging to a complete train wreck over the last 3 weeks. How do I fix this? If I have to ride it out instead, what do you suggest the best to cope with it? My coping chest of tools aren't very helpful at the moment. Okay. Let me see. It kind of looks like you're doing too much work. You're doing too much. And as a result of that, and I don't know if that means you're doing too much like physically, like you're working too hard outside, or if you're doing too much mentally, you're running things through your mind a lot. But they do say you're doing too much, and that is affecting your ability to do the whole disconnect and sleep down thing. On that, a couple of things actually. I do think that it's going to even out. You are in a bit of what we call a psychic shift, a psychic energetic shift. I do think that, at night when you're sleeping, you're being put to work. There's a lot going on this planet right now, and a lot of us are being asked to serve even when we're trying to sleep. But more so, I think that it is not having a good disconnect from the activities of the day and what you're doing and where it's like there's not enough of a separation. So what that would be is you establish a very clear routine before you go to bed, and that would include, and they're talking too fast. So, of course, no TV, take technology out of the bedroom, even your cell phone, or, minimize the EMF frequencies coming off it as much as possible. Even take the clock out so that's not a distraction to get your rhythms back in. But also, don't lay in bed and think, right? Or worry. If you have things that you have to process through, don't do that in the bedroom. Have a very specific place away from the bedroom that you go to journal or process or think or, even run things through your mind. Don't do that in your sleep space, okay? You need to really clear your sleep space. So you need to give it a good smudging. You need to diffuse essential oils. You need anything that produces the potential of Wi-Fi signal or EMF coming off your cell phone, coming off your TV. All of that's out there. Is it possible that some of these messages are for all of us? A lot of this is sounding familiar. Oftentimes, yes, Spirit piggybacks messages. Absolutely. Okay, so the other thing that you can do is I've heard that you can say that you have to have an electronic thing in the bedroom. You can take, usually they recommend get blue duct tape and tape it around the cord. Just like, get a piece this long, tape it around the cord so there's a little flag, kind of coming off the end. And that can help neutralize some of that energy as well to make it a better space. But it looks to me like when I do those videos and I talk about your individual quantum energy field, okay, it's the space around you that is the giant sponge that absorbs the positive and the negative, and that you look through it to see the world, and the world looks through it to see you. It looks like that. How do I have a low battery? My phone is plugged in. Okay, hold on. I gotta take my phone out of my case, okay? So hold on just a second, guys. Did I disconnect you? Maybe not. Okay. Sorry about this. Okay. See if my phone will plug in now. Hope that works. If not, we might be in trouble. Another thing for that Jaden K. Smith. You guys are killing me. Oh, I'm not plugged in. All right. Okay, we clear. Okay. My phone is dying quickly. I have it plugged in, so we'll see how long I can go. Um, Worst case scenario, what I'll try to do is get it up and live stream via one of the laptops. So we'll keep going. Okay, so on that, with the description of the grandfather being very similar, I've been to see the Long Island medium Teresa Caputo twice. Both times, I think she's amazing. I really do. I think she's amazing. And I watched Spirit. It's called piggybacking. I watched Spirit piggyback messages, and that is that to get through. It's like the similarities are there, and the messages are similar. So it kind of goes out and it just hits everybody it's supposed to hit. So like there was one where the people who bought their tickets did not come together. They did not come together, and they did not know each other, and they were sitting right next to each other. Both of them were mothers and sons. Both of them had a husband who was a police officer who died in duty, in the line of duty. So imagine that coincidence, right? I mean, how crazy was that? That they did not know each other. They bought their ticket separately. But yet when Teresa goes over there and she says, who here has a husband in law enforcement who died in the line of duty? Both of them did. And even that happened when my husband got his message from his mother. The lady sitting literally right next to us had a mother who died of cancer, who lost her vision at the end. So, I mean, it's the way it goes. So yes, the messages do piggyback. Absolutely. So, and that's why we say, you get something from everybody else's messages as well. In fact, the first time we saw Teresa, someone else took my message, and it was okay because I knew it was mine. But she was talking about a grandmother in spirit. She mentioned the name Lucy, and then she mentioned little gold coins with angels on them. And I had those. I wonder if they're still back there. I used to have this little thing of angel coins sitting. No, I did something right here on this bookshelf behind me, and they were mine. And the lady fit everything but the little angel coins. But it was, I mean, I knew it was my message, so I was fine with it. But so that's called piggybacking. And so yes, they will do that. Okay. But typically when I'm talking to the person, that's when their loved one speaks in. Now, if you're doing a different kind, if we weren't doing this gallery this way, I like to do it this way so I know everybody gets a message, so I know that I'm going down my checklist. If I just was, just saying, okay, who wants to come in? Okay, I have a male in spirit, then we'd have to go and figure out whose it was and divide it up. But because we do it this way, we don't have to. We know that was Robin's grandfather, but then Katie's grandpa's jumping in so that he can come through as well. See, that's why it's called piggybacking. Okay, so let me find out where we were before the phone. Okay, so we were talking about the sleep for Marina. I've heard the blue duct tape, getting like a dark blue duct tape, and you just tape it around, like this is your wire, and you just tape it around and have a little bit of excess right here. Just wrap it around any of the cords in your sleep space, and that can help neutralize some of those energies as well for that. But you do need to have a very specific routine. Needs to be very similar right now. So if bedtime is 10 o'clock, you start your bedtime routine at 9. So you read from 9 to 9:20. And I do recommend you read something light before you go to bed. Not too in depth, not something that's going to enter your dreams and give you nightmares, but something really light and inspirational, from 9 to 9:20, 9:20 to, 9:40, go sit outside, enjoy the nightly sounds, be very peaceful. After 9 p.m., lights are on a minimum, and you don't bring that technology in the bedroom. You don't bring anything with those EMF or Wi-Fi. You might also, if you have Wi-Fi in your house, you might start turning it off at night. I have a few friends that do this now. At bedtime, they turn off the Wi-Fi so that they're not getting those signals throughout the house. The other thing is if you have a smart meter, a lot of people have those smart meters from the electric company. Those have been known to emit a lot of frequency as well. So it might be put some tape around that and try to neutralize that, or if it gets, take it out, switch it out, and see if that makes a difference. But it does look like you're being pretty busy on that dream front, and then you need a really solid routine that you do every single night without fail. And reading something really light can help get your mind tired, but it looks to me like you might be getting yourself too tired. When like a little kid, we get too tired and we can't sleep, but it looks like you might be just doing too much. So you need to have that hour or two of just downtime before you try to go to sleep. Get your mind tired by reading, and then go to YouTube. There's some good ones there. There's also some with wholetones.com, and get some of the music, the meditation, or the tones, the frequencies that induce sleep. And you can get those and listen to that and go into that peaceful state of sleep as well. The other thing you can do is tell your guides, your spirit guides, tell them, your circle, tell them that you're willing to help in any way, but only say 3 nights a week. You're doing too much. You need some good restorative sleep. One of the things that I'll do before I go to bed is say, okay, tonight I need really good restorative sleep, please. Really good restorative sleep, and hold that space. Hold that space for sleep. But that's what it looks like. And so, yeah, when you're not sleeping, your chest of tools aren't very great, are they? Of course not, because it's hard to restore yourself when you do. Now, there are some, I found it on Amazon. So if you have Amazon Prime, that means you also get Amazon Music. Okay. And very few people know about Amazon Music. It's an app. You can download it or go to the website. And there was an audio, and it says it's like get 4 hours of sleep in 20 minutes. And it's this music that's supposed to make you feel like you've gotten 4 hours of sleep in less than 20 or 30 minutes. And I've done that several times when I didn't get enough sleep. I would go back and listen to that, and it would kind of reboot me and restore me. But of course, a friend of mine swears by cedarwood, the essential oil cedarwood. She just puts a drop on her nose and on her kid's nose at night. I mixed up something with lavender for us, and some peace and calming. And this is the lavender that we use a lot of. You can diffuse it, put it on the bottom of your feet. And these are all things that can help you start to get some sleep. But mostly you need downtime just read. Reading should be the only thing you do during that window of where you're getting ready to transition to sleep. It shouldn't be anything. Cedarwood on the back of the big toes. Yeah, it's kind of smelly to put on the tip of your nose, but I will say it works beautifully. It works beautifully here, just right there on the tip of your nose. It's just right. I guess it's the right place to smell it. But these are some ideas that you can do. But I'm getting that you're doing too much on the spirit plane at night. You're doing too much there, and you're doing too much during the day, and you're not getting enough of you're not letting your body know we're shifting now. We're shifting. One of the things that we tell especially intuitive kids that are having trouble shifting to do is we make sure that they change their clothes. It helps them shift. It goes from, okay, this is school mode to home mode, after school mode to nighttime mode. And we do that with them so that they can, be able to make these shifts easier. So try those things and see if those things work. But mostly I think it's going to come down to telling your counsel 3 nights a week's the max, or 2 nights a week's the max, that you need to get some restorative sleep. And if you communicate to them that, they will respect that. Okay. Amy is next. Okay. Amy says, I've been clearing lots of stuff on all levels and feel like I've made some great strides. What should I work on next? Also, I'm so sick of food. I've been feeling weird physically, and I think it's food related. What does my body want to be fed these days? We are sorry. I hope that doesn't continue all night. That would be Piper's friend trying to FaceTime her. We do the best we can. I remind myself of that quite often. Okay, so we are definitely shifting in regards to food. Okay, our relationship, and I mean energetically shifting in relationship to food. And so if you've watched any of the videos that I've done where I've talked about us shifting from the 3D to the 5D, you see that our physical bodies are going through the shift as well. So what your physical body was adapted to on the 3D is going to be different than, there's another Jaden Smith message, is going to be different than what your body is adapted to on the physical level. I mean, on the 5D level. So you have to assume at this point that you have to relearn what works for you and what doesn't. You know, and a lot of people are getting the call to be breatharians right now. I'm not, but but a lot of, I'm hearing that over and over and over again, that it is necessary to step into another Jaden Casement. You people are going to drive me crazy. To everyone in this group, please do not alert me to the hacker Jaden K. Smith. Please, please, please. I'm begging you. That's 6 of those messages just since we've been streaming. So anyway, your relationship to food is going to change. The breatharian movement is a recognition of that your body is able to get fuel, energy from different sources on the 5D plane. So maybe part of this, at least, is your body trying to tell you it doesn't need the same amount of food or the same types of food as it goes to the 5D plane. So what I would do is, if you're able to, I'm hearing, and I haven't done it myself, but I'm hearing wonderful things about sun gazing, within the first 30 minutes that the sun is up, so that you're gazing at the sun without the ozone, and then you only do it for like 10 seconds. So do some research on it. And then the last 30 minutes before it sets. I'm hearing that the people that are having trouble adjusting to food for that 5D shift are able to get massive amounts of energy, from the sun. And of course that makes sense, right? I mean, the sun is a massive source of energy for this planet. And so I would start with that. And then I would also get a really good food journal, and maybe do some muscle testing like we talked about earlier for Katie and her husband. Get some muscle testing and figure out what is in harmony with your body. It's not about food allergies for you. So that's not it at all. It's about what can work harmoniously with your energy now that it's ascending into 5D. I mean, basically, you just got yourself a whole new body. A whole new body. The stuff you've cleared, the stuff you've released, the stuff you've dealt with. You've created a whole new body. And the things that kept the old body going are not going to be the things that keep the new body going. I definitely think living live foods are going to be better. Okay, living life foods are those that still have their energy attached to them. So, like the apple that comes off the tree that doesn't sit off the tree for 2 weeks before you eat it. So local farmers markets where things are picked within a day or two of being brought to market. Those would be better choices. Be sure that you're blessing everything that comes in. It needs to be blessed and prayed over to make it in peace, in harmony with your body. Go back and look at Dr. Emoto's water studies and look at how a single drop of water can hold the frequency of a word. So how much of our body is water and how much of our food is water, and then think about placing harmonious words or frequency over that food so that it is harmonious and it can be integrated easily into your body. But life source is what I am hearing. Your food needs to have its life force energy still attached to it. If you get food that's been removed, it's not going to be good. And so, even foods that we think that are really healthy, that have had a lot of the nutrients heated out of them or spun out of them, those aren't going to be good for you because they're not going to have the life force that you're needing. Basically, your body is saying the only thing I need now, I don't need filler foods. I don't need craving foods. I don't need that. What I need is life force. And that's exactly what your body's doing. So anything that still has as much as much chi, as much life force energy in it as possible. And I do know there's studies of this on not Facebook, sorry, on internet, on Google, because I've looked at them. It's been a while, but whose book was I reading? I was reading someone's book and it talked about this, but it's been probably 5 or 6 years since I read that book. And it was literally about this, about how our food, how we're needing so many vitamins and so many supplements because we've taken all the nutrients out of our food. And if we go back to eating living food, then we don't need all of these nutrients. We don't need all these vitamins. We don't need all these supplements. And I think they're onto something. For you, for your body where it is, you need the life force. You don't need the other stuff, and your body will thank you for it. Visualize when you, like, so say you're going to eat this apple, okay? Pretend there's an apple here. You're going to eat this apple. Before you actually eat it, like commune with it, hold it into it, hold it in your hand and feel it harmonizing with you. Give gratitude to it and then eat it. Carrie says Anthony Williams talks about this in his books. It wasn't his book because I haven't read it yet, but yes, read that if he did, great, go for it, because it is so important, especially as you're going into the 5D. And that's what's happening, Amy. You're hitting you've been 5D consciousness. You've raised your body to 5D now, and now it's saying, wait a minute, what's going on here? These foods aren't doing anything for me. And so that's what you need to do next, is work on finding out what works for your physical body in 5D and what doesn't. Also, the way you work and help others is going to change as well. And it looks like you're kind of on the forefront of this. So keep really good journal records, like write things down of what you're learning, what works and what doesn't work, what feels, what fills you up and what doesn't, what makes you feel good when you eat and what doesn't, because you're going to be guiding other people through this later, and they're going to need your experience and your wisdom. So make good notes. That way you have those notes to go back on. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So Carrie is next. Carrie says, thank you. I know you said 1 or 2 questions, but I'm listing 3. Just teasing. Okay. There's been a man I've been spending time with. Will this turn into a serious committed relationship this year? I'm told a world is coming to me. What is that world? And have the blinders been taken off? Okay. Without some more information on number 2, I'm told a world is coming to me, I can't really explain someone else's message. I don't know what they were seeing. I don't know if it was a metaphor, if it was literal. There's so many things on that I don't know, that I can't really, I'll just see what comes through. An avocado and a strawberry and an orange. Good choices. Good choices. I think avocados are going to rule the world. Okay, so with the man spending time with, will this turn into a serious committed relationship this year? Okay, so Archangel Michael is the one stepping forward. Okay. What he's saying is that it can, but if you leave it up to him, it's going to take longer. But if you start throwing some hints out there and take a little bit of the initiative yourself, yes. If you wait and, just kind of give him the time and space to take the initiative, then it's going to take a little longer. It looks like, he can be pretty complacent at times, this guy. And he's one of those people that if it's not broken, don't fix it. And because things are getting comfortable and getting easy, why would you want to mess that up? Right? And so he's kind of in that place. And so if this is what you desire, you're going to have to take some initiative. And that would be, and I understand that'd be kind of uncomfortable, but that's what Spirit is saying, that you're going to have to either really lay down some heavy hints and do a little bit of like throwing that that lure out there and reeling it in a little bit, or you're going to have to let him do it on his time, which means that it's probably going to have to take you getting frustrated and starting to pull back, and he's going to be willing to do something at that time, because he's very complacent. He's very much, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And things feel really good to him right now. They feel really good to him. He's like, yeah, this is great. So that's your message for him. It can, it absolutely can develop into that, but it really will take your action, because I don't think he's gonna, unless of course, you start laying some heavy hints, start taking some action that kind of spurs him to action. Yeah. But without you doing something. Yeah. Okay. So, let's leave the whirlwind off for a second. And have the blinders been taken off? Well, yeah. And what I'm trying to figure out is when the blinders were really on. I mean, I understand, that they've been on some, but I don't know that you've ever, at least in the time I've known you, I don't think you've ever been really blind. But the blinders are actually, what Spirit's saying is the blinders have been off for a really long time. It's not that the blinders were on like this because you peeled them off a long time ago. It's that you just wouldn't look around, very much. It's like you would just kind of peek a little bit over there and peek a little bit this way, instead of going, oh wow, what's all that? And so yes, the blinders are off, and you are stepping beautifully and brilliantly into your power, and you are stepping into your own gifts, and it's going great. And Spirit is just saying, good job, good job, good job. Okay. I'm going to ask them about the world coming to you. And again, that's just such a weird message. I'm not able to connect to it at all. I'm sorry. What I can do is ask them what they want you to know, and we can go there. Because it's not so much that I see a world coming to you. I see you stepping into the world. It's stepping into power. It's stepping into purpose. It's stepping into passion. And I don't see it as the world coming to you at all. I see it as you bringing yourself to the world, and the doors, just opening up and, exploring. I will say that you are getting a push from Spirit to, you've been helping with the aura photos for a while. And you've been doing that. You've been doing great at it. Spirit says to tell you that, every person that you meet and you connect with there, this is someone that you could be sharing your business with. This is someone that you could be giving them a business card of yours with your business, so that you could be promoting what you do as well. There's a whole world of empowerment and success for you there. And Spirit's really wanting you to consider that possibility, that it's not, and those of you that might, Carrie is a distributor with Young Living Essential Oils, and Spirit is saying that there's an entire world of opportunity here for you, and not selling oils, but stepping into role as healer, stepping into role as teacher, and learning and then sharing that knowledge with others, and you would be absolutely phenomenal at it. And you're already in those venues, you're already in those places, and you already have people seeking you. This is the next step, the next logical step, the next spiritual step is just stepping into that. Okay? All right. Okay, so that is your message, Carrie. Where's your name on here? Right there. Okay. Yes, doing healing with the oils and teaching people how to use oils. Doing things like this, where you stream live on Facebook and help people learn. Just like this would be excellent. It would allow you to use your own intuitive gifts, and then what you've been able to learn and assimilate with the oils. And you have Cheryl Jazar, who can teach you so much. And so, yeah. And there's a world for you there. There's a world for you there. And Robin, there's a world for you there too. For both of you, there's absolutely a world of you stepping into healer, teacher, just by sharing knowledge, just by sharing compassion. Okay. All right. Moving forward here. Brenda is next. Okay. Brenda says, I was in a car wreck in which 3 people in my car died. If they would like to share a message with me, I'm open to it. The man who hit my car has been on my mind lately. I always have the question of what do the angels want me to know, so I might better serve by realizing and sharing my gifts. Thank you. Okay. Hey, Avery. Hey, I'm almost out of water. Would you... You have the dog in your hand and your hands are full. Never mind.
I'll come back downstairs after I use yours.
Thank you. I'm almost out of water. Okay, let me see what I get. It's interesting. When I read the question again, I always have the question of what do the angels want me to know? And the answer that came back so clearly is yourself. You want to know what Spirit wants you to know? Spirit wants you to know you. You want to know what the angels want you to know? They want you to know you. They want you to know who you really are, why you came to this planet, what you're going to do while you're here, and then trust in knowing yourself enough to do it. Okay? They want you to know you beyond anything else. Because if you could know you, everything else here would fall into place beautifully and brilliantly. The way to serve is to know yourself. Because then you know what you bring to the table. You know your gifts. You know your strength. You know your passion. And you have it ready to go. So what do they want you to know? They want you to know you. Okay? All right. So let me see if I can connect with the people in the car. Brenda, how long ago was the wreck? Because I'm not getting anybody. How long ago did the wreck happen? $1990. Okay. That is a long time ago. I wonder why I'm not. Did the man who hit the car, did he die? Or is he still on the earth plane? A man is still living. Okay. Okay, what I want to do is I'm going to skip this one and come back. What I want you to do is in your mind, I want you to talk to them. So in your mind or out loud, you're at home, I'm assuming. So say their names, call them to you. So call them to you and see if you can get them to come through. Call them to you, and I'm going to do the next name, and then I'll come back to you. But let's see if we can get them if you call them to you. Okay? All right, so the next one is Gina Black. I'm open to hearing anything from any of my beloveds. If it's possible to reach my mother, I want her to know that I forgive her, I love her, and I miss her. Gina, I think your mom is the one that was even hanging around earlier today. Because I think I kept actually hearing Regina, and I think it was Gina. And maybe she was saying my Gina, but I kept hearing that, and I'm pretty sure that your mom is the one who who I heard earlier today, that's been hanging around wanting to talk to you. So your mom is now. I'm not sure if this is mom or if this is someone else trying to come through. So Gina, are you with us? Can you pop in so I can get some information from you? Okay. I have an older woman. It kind of almost looks like she's wearing a house dress or a house coat to me. She smokes and she definitely has trouble breathing. She's I've got a lot of like struggle with breathing in my chest. Very frail, older woman. Uh, Smokes. Kind of, I mean, the hair looks kind of dark to me, but it, you know, it doesn't look like light blonde. It looks darker to me. And she might have even been on oxygen at some point because I'm getting like the struggle to talk, struggle to breathe, struggle for all of it. Does that sound like somebody for you? Okay. So then your mom is the lady I talked to earlier, and this lady is your aunt. Um, because this lady, I see the oxygen, um, and see the struggle to breathe. Okay, so were they sisters, or was this like dad's mom? I mean, dad's sister for an aunt or older sister. Okay, yes, sorry. Okay, yes, this is mom and your aunt. I've got mom and your aunt coming through. Your aunt just wants to tell you that she's looking out for you. Thank you, Avery. She's looking out for you. She's looked out for you. She also was one of the ones who welcomed your mom into heaven whenever she got there. She is very, oh, Spud, don't knock things over. She is very she feels very peaceful. Very peaceful. Now, your mom, okay. It's funny that you say tell her I forgive her because she says that one of the hardest things for her has been looking at the pain she caused. She definitely hurt people, and hurt people. And she you know her words could be biting. Her words could be very, very harsh, she says. And she the way I see your mom is as somebody who really never learned how to healthy love. That love was always conditional, and it was always kind of like prove it type thing. And if you loved them, then you couldn't love me, and just back and forth with it. So your mom said it's taken a while to come to terms with her part in this, and to see that the way that she was hurt, that she never dealt with, became the way that she then in turn hurt those that she loved. Okay. And so she's definitely she has peace. She has peace, but she is very glad that you're moving forward, and that you have found a way to forgive her, and love her in spite of herself, she says. In spite of herself, she says. It looks to me like both your mom and your aunt have some trauma from early childhood, some, young life trauma that they both had to deal with, that affected who they were as people in different ways. but they're working on that. They're working on that, and they're doing a good job. But your mom really, really does love you. And she says, "This is amazing. I'm so glad she had peace." And yes, to love her in spite of herself. Yeah, she says she wasn't the most lovable one. She wasn't the most lovable um, person. And the angels keep saying her words were biting, like she had some bite. Her words had teeth. They could really, kind of take a chunk out of you sometimes. But she is in peace, and she's, really learned why, she never felt really worthy of love, and why she always made love so conditional for everyone else, and so forth. But she's peaceful now, and that's what matters. And she has peace now, and she really is reaching out, just her arms just out and around you, and saying, "This is the love I couldn't give you when I was on earth, but here it is now. Here it is now," just wrapping around you. And she and her sister, had their healing to do, and they did it, and they're healing together. So yeah, so it is, all is well in heaven for them. And she's very grateful. She says, "I'm very grateful she was my daughter. I'm very grateful that I had the chance, to know her, and I didn't deserve her, but I got her anyway." Yeah. Okay. All right, Gina. So, mom's definitely okay, and so grateful that you're where you are on your healing journey. Where your healing journey is. I also see this has got to be either grandpa or great grandpa. He's kind of tall and thin. I mean, it's definitely a younger version of him, I'm willing to say, because he doesn't look that old. But this looks like a black and white photo, probably from the 30s. So he would be older by the time he died. But I see him working on kind of looks like a farm, rural area. I see him doing a lot of work outside. I don't know that it was his farm, or if he just worked there like as a kid, because I see him more like a hired hand than the one owning the farm, at least in this image of him. But this looks like, honest to God, this looks like the Dust Bowl days. This is really old, hard times. And he's coming in for his family, lie to say, "Thank you for being part of our family, and thank you for holding our family together and being part of it. I thank you for that." And so you've got this older man coming through to do that so look at your family tree and see who was what male, thin, worked on a farm, like did outside farm work during the days of the Dust Bowl. This would be when you find out when he was. Don't even think they owned a car. I don't see a car. I think it was still walking a lot. Pretty poor. Did not get a chance to go to school for very long, so probably would have dropped out by about the 5th grade. Yeah, 5th grade, he says. So you can see if he advertised raisins. Maybe I'm seeing him a little younger than in his 30s. So maybe I'm seeing like his teen years or something, because he looks kind of poor. He looks kind of poor. Well, it'll come. This guy looks kind of poor, so I don't know that he was in advertising. Maybe he's the other side of the family or something. But anyway, he's saying thank you for keeping the family together. And sometimes we just have to figure out who people are later. It comes to us. Okay. Definitely not this guy. Because he was in the country. So, yeah, we're definitely different people. So this guy was definitely rural. Kind Could also be he's for someone else here. I guess he could have jumped in as soon as I say they don't do that very often. Um, but we'll look and see. So if he's not yours, he belongs to someone else in the room. Okay, all right. So let me go back now. Who had the car wreck? Brenda. Sorry about that. I was gonna do one and come back to you, and I got distracted like I often do. I apologize. Okay, Brenda. Let's see if we can get your people. If we can get your people. Okay. Brenda, are you still with me? Okay. Let's see if we can get any of these people from this car. There's a gnat. Ooh, yuck. Okay. I have no idea why, but I'm still just not getting them. Hmm. It's not very often that I can't get people. I mean, it's real rare. Well, let me cheat. Cheating is asking an angel. Okay, Archangel Michael. The people who died in the car when Brenda was hit, can you tell me how they are? Okay, Archangel Michael says to tell you that they all transcended right away. Um, the adult took a little longer than the kids. The kids went right to heaven. The adult did take a little longer. Uh, the the man who hit you, the man who hit the car, has really struggled his entire life. Archangel Michael says that he hasn't been able to let it go. Um, and it's caused him, you would think that it would cause him to make really, really, really good choices, especially involving driving. Um, was he drunk when he hit the car? When he hit you, was he drunk or under the influence of something? Okay. Um, I think it's caused him to not make good choices. And it's interesting that I can connect with the energy of that guy easily, and he's on the earth plane, and I'm having trouble finding your friends. Um, yeah, he's not making good choices. He's not it, you know, because not because he's trying to forget it happened, but because he's holding on to the pain and not letting it go. You feel like you need to reach out to him. If you feel that, I would probably do it. I mean, if you're feeling that pull, I would do it because instead of making it so that he, uh, would just turn his life around and use this as a learning lesson to teach others. He uses it to beat himself up and remind himself that he's bad and make poor decisions off of that. So it's like it spirals him. So instead of making great decisions because he wants to make up for it, he's making poor decisions because he screwed it up, if that makes sense. Um, I would definitely, I mean, if that's my ping, I would reach out to him. I think he needs it. He needs to find a way to, you know, even if he can't quite forgive himself, he needs to find a way so that he can make better decisions that don't hurt more people, if that makes sense. Yeah, he does. You know, the angels and they said the question of what the angels want you to know so that you might get better at serving and realizing your gifts. You, for all intents and purposes, you're a spiritual counselor. That's your gift. Your gift is helping people and knowing to reach out, just like the guy that, hit the car. And knowing yourself is the best way to do that. And so really get to know you. Get to know you. Look at yourself through your loved ones and spirit's eyes. Look at yourself through Archangel Michael's eyes. Look at yourself through spirit's eyes, because there's a lot of good in there. There's so much good in you, but you have to get to know yourself before you can see it. Okay. Paula asked, I don't know that much about spirit, but if someone reincarnates, are they still in spirit? That's a whole quantum physics thing. Technically, yeah. Because time doesn't work the same over there. It's all present. So from that quantum physics perspective, all of our lifetimes are happening now. But we take a slice of that and work out of that, because we can't grasp that no concept of time in spirit. Typically, though, we don't reincarnate for a couple generations, so that mom, dad, grandparents, maybe even great grandparents all get to be together. Yeah. So, and that's how that works. But, I don't know really why they're not coming through, except that maybe it has to do with healing. Maybe it has to do with a job that they have. I mean, there's lots of reasons. And maybe the whole point of this wasn't to get to them, but maybe it was to validate for Brenda that she needed to reach out to the man who hit them. And maybe that's why, because we wouldn't have gone there. We would have focused on them had they come through. So Spirit's saying, okay, you guys can come through next time, but this time let's get her to act on that. And that's why. Okay, so moving forward. All right. Gina, one more time, your mom says I love you. and she's so thankful for you. And she didn't deserve you, but she's thankful for you just the same. Okay, so Gwen says, wondering if Larry moved Alyssa's rings among other things, asking my mom and dad if they have advice on what should be done with their house. And then the emoji thing. I love it when emojis get in the way. And will Kara ever realize what a gift she has and is, and how can we help her to reach her potential? Okay. She seems very hesitant to use her gift. Larry said he actually didn't move Alyssa's rings. He didn't. So what I would recommend here is the prayer to Saint Anthony or the prayer to Archangel Chamuel. And it's, Archangel Chamuel or Saint Anthony, please come around. Something is lost that needs to be found. We seem to have misplaced Alyssa's rings. Please help us find them. And then I always add that to also, please put them directly in front of my face. Not please help them show up, but please place them directly in front of my face. If there's no risk I miss them. So Larry didn't mess with them. He didn't mess with them, and he doesn't know where they are, but he'll see if he can help put them right in front of her face. Okay, so your mom and dad want to know if you have any advice about what should be done with their house. Okay. Yeah, this is the man in Gina's reading was your dad. Okay, great. Because we probably would have figured that out in just a second. Universally, and there's always exceptions, so I don't want to say this is always the case, but the overwhelming majority of the time, this is the case. The things that people loved and held so important to them while they were on Earth, the family heirlooms, the family home, the jewelry, whatever it is, when they get to spirit, they take like an energetic part of that with them. So they really don't have a connection to the thing that's left on the earth plane. Okay. So if, even if, let's say that, and my grandma Lucy was probably the worst one on the world about this. So she would say something to the effect of, well, honey, that's going to be valuable someday, so you have to keep it. And the result is that she was a hoarder, my mother's a hoarder, yay Kay. And we have all these hoarders in our family because nobody could part with anything because the person who left it to them died and was like, you gotta hold on to it, it'll mean something. So I want to say, just universally for everybody, the overwhelming majority of the time when your loved ones are gone, that they're okay with whatever you decide to do. Very rarely have I ever had anyone come back and say, well, you shouldn't have done that. I did have, on that example, I did have one time, it was a family, they, sometimes it's great to be poor. I mean that. Sometimes we don't realize it until you start doing this kind of work with people that are very, very wealthy. I mean, like, millionaires, multimillionaires. And you watch the absolute ripping the family apart over money and over property. If your family doesn't have any of that, everybody kind of pitches in to make the funeral happen, and everybody walks away, and nobody's going to fight over anything because there's nothing left to fight over. And, that's been my family my whole life. So this whole concept of having a big estate and having property and having this was all new to me. And so as a medium, though, when somebody dies and they're giving, what they want to happen to their property, the part that's hard for them is when you watch it be torn apart. It's only been one time an uncle came back and he said, I cannot believe what you've done. One time out of hundreds, probably 1,000 sessions in mediumship. One time he came back and he said, I cannot believe what you've done. And he wasn't even mad what they did with the building, because it was an apartment building. He was mad about the fact that they dragged this into court and they declared sides and they ripped their family apart. Yes, I mean, I know it was a multi-million-dollar building, but how much is money really worth? So I'm going to preface it with that for everybody, and then I'm going to see specifically what your parents say. But Spirit says everybody needs to hear that, so that part is for everybody. Okay, so let's, especially since your dad, since he's already come through. Okay, he says to tell you that the way that you're leaning is fine. So what is it are you thinking about selling the house? Sorry, I know there's a delay for this to come across. Okay. There it went. Okay. So what are you thinking about doing? Because he says whatever way you're leaning is fine. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense why that whole thing. Legal problems with your sister with it. Um, hey, is that Scott's mom? That sister? Okay. Made sense because when I read that, I heard him pop in. Okay, well, and that makes sense then again why Spirit said at the beginning, they, as long as it's not tearing the family apart, our loved ones in spirit don't really care what we do with it. But it's when it starts tearing us apart that it becomes an issue. However, with that being said, Gwen, your dad is saying that he trusts your judgment. Okay? He trusts your judgment. And your mom is agreeing with him. And so your judgment is the one that he trusts. Larry says to tell you that that you're the one in the family that has the common sense, that has the sense about you. He worded that slightly differently than I. Sorry, let me see if I can get his exact words. She's the one with the sense about her, is how that kind of came in. Um, yeah. And so you're the one that even Larry says she's the one with the sense about her. She's the one that should make the decision. She's the level-headed one, is what he's saying. She's the level-headed one, so she needs to be the one. Yeah. Um, it looks like hold your sense about you, hold your level head, but just don't let this drag you to a really, bad place. Don't let it drag you to a bad place. You've got your parents on your side. And I don't mean that as in your side versus her side. They're not choosing between children, but they're choosing a decision. They're choosing a path, and you're the level-headed one. You're the one with the sense about you. So you're the one that they want to happen. That to listen to your judgment. I don't want to, and they do not want that either. Now that even makes more sense now about why Spirit gave us that example, about the uncle with the apartment building saying, don't let it tear the family apart. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And so that makes sense why Spirit said that message at the beginning too, is because of that. One thing you can do, I recommend you do, is at late at night when you're almost asleep and your sister's you figure she's almost asleep or asleep, visualize your heart center opening and her heart center opening and a cord connecting you, and speak your heart. Tell her that you don't want to lose her. Tell her that you love her, and tell her you're trying to do what's best, and you're trying to do what makes the most sense and follow through with what you believe your parents want. And just tell her soul that, and see if it can make a difference, because it can. And also pray for her peace. So when you pray for her, pray her peace is what Spirit is saying. So if you just pray her peace, then she will be able to see things through a different lens, and she'll come around. So don't pray, for her vision to clear. Don't pray for her to see things differently. Don't pray for her to, just pray for her peace. And that will help her. That will help her greatly if you pray for her peace. It'll help you too. It'll help you both. And actually, Archangel Michael is saying I know it looks like it's the house, but it's not really the house. Sometimes when life has dealt you so many bad hands, again and again and again and again and again, it's like you got to pick somewhere to take a stand. You got to pick somewhere to draw the line in the sand, dig your feet down and say, I'm not moving. Life has been so unfair to me. I've had, crap hand after crap hand after crap hand. And I'm standing right here, and I'm not moving. And it has nothing to do really with the house. It has to do with the line in the sand. It has to do with her feeling like things have been so unfair for so long that she picked this one thing is like her metaphorical last stand. And it's not about the house. It's about everything else. About all the areas where she didn't have power, where she didn't have a say, where life happened to her. Of many other things, losing her son. And this is where she's going to make her stand. And this is where she's going to tell life, no, and it's not really about the house. And even Scott says it's not really about the house. It's more about power. It's more about feeling like she can hold something and say no and have her say and have her way. Okay, so will Kara ever realize what a gift she has and is, and how can we help her reach her potential? She seems to be so very hesitant to use her gift. Gwen, how old is Kara now? Realize this would be more fun if it was a margarita. 19. Okay. Yes. Yes. Just not for a little while. She will eventually, maybe not even until she's like mid to late 20s. So you have a few more years of her not seeing herself clearly. How can you help her reach her potential? You know, the best thing we can do when we have, especially we have a gifted kid, but we have a kid with really great energy, special energy, is we have to see through the illusion of brokenness. We have to be the one person that sees them as whole and healed and okay, because they can't see themselves that way. And so you're going to hold that vision of her as okay until she can hold it for herself. And that's what you do. And you hold that vision and you keep holding that vision until she can get it for herself as well. She will get there. I mean, it's just going to be a little while. She still has so many things to deal with. And a lot of her, karma that she came in with involves, sort of being blinded to who she really is as well. Not being able to see it. So she will. It's just going to be a few more years. And your job is to hold that vision of her with unwavering faith until she can see it for herself. Yeah. Paula says, boy, does this sound familiar. Yeah, I know. A lot of these kids that came in like that, it's all part of the process of them not seeing themselves and not knowing themselves, and then awakening when it's time. And we've got the shift going on. So, they'll awaken some, but it's going to be a little while for, the bigger stuff for them because of the karmic cycles they came in with. And remember, when we're talking about gifted people and gifted kids, sorry, my nose is itching so much, probably from that peppermint, which is necessary. When we're talking about that, how many lifetimes are we looking at where it wasn't safe to have gifts. It wasn't safe to talk to angels. It wasn't safe to talk to spirit. It wasn't safe to know things before they happen. It wasn't safe to see auras. It wasn't safe to see colors. It wasn't safe to hear spirit, right? Not only were you ostracized, likely you were killed. Only in the last few decades has this been something that didn't get you locked into an insane asylum with a lobotomy, or burned to a stake, or drowned as a witch, or hung. And so all of these people that have these energies, they have to feel safe enough. And of course, we're in a 3D world, so it's not safe. But as we ascend and as we go into the 5D world, it will get safer. But it's just going to take time for them. And so she will, Gwen. Don't give up. And I know you're not gonna. But just keep seeing her as okay until she can see it for herself. If she gets, whims to study something or read something, encourage it. Especially if it's positive and in alignment with empowerment and positivity, encourage it. Keep her in pursuit of her own truth. Okay. All right, moving on here. Let me see who is next. Okay, Kay. Okay, so Kay says, lately I keep hearing I love you randomly throughout the day. Who is that? Am I going to have a partner in the future, or is it just me from now on? Any messages Spirit has for me on the subject will be appreciated. Yes, I want the truth. Kay writes that because, sometimes when I have to tell people something I know they don't want to hear, I just get so sad. Because I don't want to make people sad. And the best example I could give of that is, for those of you that have known me for a while, it took me 7 years to get pregnant the first time. 7 years of infertility. 7 years is a long time to have empty arms that really want a baby. Long time. And so a couple years ago at a spirit fair, there was, I guess it was a metaphysical fair, there was a woman walking around who every single reader there told her she was pregnant. And a couple people that were together at a table, one said, oh, you're going to have twins. And the other one said, oh, yes, I totally see twins. And she's like, I'm pregnant now? And they're like, oh, yeah, you're pregnant now. And so, she hit every single reader table there was and was told by everyone she was pregnant. And she got to my table and said, I have, and she didn't even tell me what she was asking people. She said, I have a yes no question. What does Spirit say? And I said, I'm hearing I'm sorry, but no. And, she said, okay, well, I'm going to ask you a different question. And it was the same question. She said, am I pregnant? And I heard no. And I said, I'm sorry, but no. And it broke her heart. It absolutely broke her heart. And, and she even said, but everyone here, I've had 11 readings and all 11 of them told me I was pregnant, but you've got to be wrong. You have to be the one that's wrong because all of them said I was pregnant. And I was almost crying at this point, and I hugged her and said, if you want to be pregnant, I want nothing more than for you to be pregnant. I really sincerely mean that. But that's not what I'm getting from Spirit. And I can't lie. I'll tap dance around it, And if you don't ask me outright, I won't just tell you you're not pregnant, but I'm getting that you're not pregnant. So fast forward 2 years, and she contacts me and says, you were the only one willing to tell me the truth, that I wasn't pregnant. I thank you for that. And then at that point, she also told me that, she had previously had her tubes tied and stuff. So the likelihood of her being pregnant was really slim to begin with. But, I was the one who kind of broke her heart because I was the one who told her she wasn't pregnant. See what I'm saying? So it's hard. And that's why Kay says, yes, I want the truth. So don't tap dance around it, she means. Tell me straight up. Kay, I don't think you're going to be alone forever. I've felt like you are going to meet someone. I have felt like a relationship that you've had off and on, for a while now has been in the way. Not just in the way energetically, but in the way psychically as well, in the way spiritually. I feel like that relationship has had this dark power over you. So even if you say, okay, he's gone, he still has that power over you that has prevented you from really opening that door to anyone else. I think you've got to not just be done with him, because I know you are, but psychically clear yourself from him, energetically clear yourself from him. And then, some sort of action or act that says, I'm ready. Something that says I'm ready. Something that gets, you out there so that you can. I don't know if that would be like one of the apps or something like that, but something, or putting it out to your friends, if you got anybody to set me up with. Whatever that act is, you need both. You need the cutting away of him psychically, energetically, cutting that cord, clearing his energy, and then just shoving him back where he came from. And then that act of sending you forward. I think that I love you is twofold. Okay. One, I do fully believe that this is the voice of God, the voice of Spirit, telling you that you are loved, telling you that you matter, giving you the validation that you need. Secondly, I believe it is a promise of the relationship coming, of the love coming. I feel like it's both. And you need to, really energetically free yourself fully from this guy. Fully, completely, utterly, totally. And just have him gone and do some big step of moving forward so that you can open that door. Okay? So that you can open that door. Okay. Then you said you lost the live feed. Okay, if you really clear him out completely and open the door, someone will come. Someone will walk through it. But you got to put yourself out there, and that's hard for you. But keep working on that self-love, okay? Spirit is saying to you, I love you, you matter. Now you say it to you. You say it to you, okay? Every day, arms open wide, I'm ready for love, and I love myself. Every day, okay? All right. Let's see. Trucking right along here. Okay, Francine. Now, Jackie, did you post a question? Because after Francine, you're who I have left, and I don't have a question from you. So if you have a question Will you post it? Or post it to the chat, or post it on the thread online? Because I don't, unless you don't have a question, you just want a message, and I can do that as well. Okay, so Francine, for you, I'm going to pull from angel cards. Okay, so give me just a second, and I don't know why they're telling me to do it that way. They just are. So for those of you that are interested in using angel cards for yourself, I recommend that you do not ask a question while you're shuffling. And I know that's opposite from every other teacher on the planet. But here's what I've come to believe, that the law of attraction is always working. So if I ask a question about money, about job, about love, about whatever it is, I'm going to get a card that reflects that, right? Because I put the energy on it through the law of attraction. So if I want to make sure that my message is authentic, then I don't ask anything, okay? I just let the message be. Do angel cards, okay. You are, Francine, you are right on the cusp of a shift. You are right on the cusp of a shift. So that's probably why they wanted me to look at this. Okay. A shift is a time, usually, it usually lasts 10 days, 2 weeks. I mean, at the longest, 3 weeks. But your shift is going to start at the end of July and go to mid-August. All right? A shift is a time of acceleration for you. It's a time when things manifest faster and easier, and you have better connection to spirit, better connection to angels. And so during a shift, boy, I'm telling you, it can just be like boom, 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 and you can make things come true. So have a plan for your shift. Oh gosh, my nose itches. I apologize so much for that. If we weren't on video, you would have never known. But the shift energy is all about big leaps forward. So since you have a shift coming late July, early August, I would get some things on paper that you want. So things you want to manifest, things you want to correct, things you want to heal, things you want to do, things you want to experience. I would get them on paper, and every night between now and then, pull out that piece of paper and read over it, and read over it, and read over it. The first card is, poised. Okay? This card means you're in the best possible place for great leaps forward. You're poised and ready. You're poised and ready. Regeneration. This one is that it's the rebirth. So it's the shift. And it's saying that, even things that you thought were gone are being brought back to life now. The regeneration card is an empowerment card. It's an empowerment card. It's a leap forward card. And it says that, everything's going to heighten. Your intuitive gifts, your spiritual gift, your claircognizance, your knowing, all of this is going to heighten as a result of the shift. Now this one, the third card in your journey card, is Treasure Island. Okay. Now this card is about prosperity. It is about prosperity. It's about physical, tangible things. So get a few physical, tangible, prosperity related goals on that piece of paper. So let's say that, one of your things that you really want to do is swim with dolphins. So you put that on your piece of paper. Okay, great. Also put, the vacation on there. Or let's say that on here you want to have better clairaudience, better clairvoyance. That's a fine thing to put on your list for this shift. But the other thing that you can put on there would be, a raise in income, or manifest a different vehicle, or whatever. With a shift, you can manifest anything. With the treasure card, it definitely pulls in physical, tangible things that you can manifest through prosperity. So it can be the experiences and the spiritual gifts and relationships and all of that, but it can also be the physical things as well. Okay, now your power card is deep knowing. So this is that claircognizance coming in. The claircognizance energy is all about stepping into your own greater place of knowing. Okay, Francine, what is it you do now for a job? Do you work? Do you stay home? Are you retired? What is it you do now in your day to day? Sorry for the delay, guys. Retire, but I paint and write. Okay, excellent. You might even use some of that in this. Write what you want out as a story, as a fiction story that then manifests and comes true. Use this energy to really expand that energy channel of painting and writing and letting that creative energy flow through you. You have a pretty big shift coming. It's going to start, at the end of July. So, the 28th, 29th, somewhere right in there. And it's going to go 10 to 12 days into August. So, August 10th, August 12th, somewhere in there. You want to have a plan in place for this kind of shift in particular, because it can definitely do that. So if you're one of those people that you want to be published as a writer, or you are published as a writer and you want to get something else published as a writer, use that shift energy to make that happen. Use that shift energy to move your pieces into success, into greater awareness for those that would want to read them, buy them, share them, etc. The shift coming in is pretty good, and it looks to me like there's some really, really deep spiritual healing coming. Deep spiritual healing. So be present with your feelings as this happens. Be present with your feelings, present with those pings of feelings that come up. Don't shove them away if they're uncomfortable. Sit with them and maybe write them out, and then work on observing them and then letting them release, because you do have a pretty big spiritual healing place coming in as well. Looks like it's just deep spiritual healing moving into deep claircognizance, which is the gift of knowing. Now's the time for some aloneness. Now's the time to make sure that you're getting plenty of time alone and solitude. Now's the time to make sure that you're getting that quiet space. Now's the time that you're getting time. Okay, I'll look at that one in just a minute. Now's the time to make sure that you're getting reflection time, and that you're observing thoughts as they come through, and you're getting that deep spiritual healing. With this shift, you said, I'm having major issues with my daughter. If this were me and this were my shift on that piece of paper, I would write some goals, not just for my relationship with my daughter, but for my daughter as well. I see my daughter as happy, healthy, thriving, and making good decisions. I see my daughter as, blah, 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 blah. I would put those on there as well. How old is your daughter? And Jackie, if you're with us, will you pop in? Because I haven't seen you yet, and I don't have a question from you that I have found. So if you're here, can you pop in for me? Okay, she's 18. Is she still living at home? Now she is, okay. Yeah, just a second, sorry. VAL. I was just gonna tag Jackie and see if she's in the room with us. Okay for that. Okay, now, no, she ran off. Okay. Let me do something different then. Archangel Michael. What can you tell me about Francine's daughter, and what does she need to know? Okay. Okay. Archangel Michael says to tell you that right now it's almost like, those paddle things that have the little ball attached with the string, and you do that and the ball comes out and it comes back and then it bounces off the paddle again and then it comes back and it does this. It's almost like that is your daughter right now. And so you're the paddle and she's the ball, so she'll go out, whatever she needs to do, come back, and then go out again. Unfortunately, it does look like this is going to be the cycle for a while as she, goes through some of her stuff. Her past, she has some significant past life. And so I'm going to just kind of go over some of that, and maybe I don't know that it changes anything, but it might give you some insight into where she is. In at least two of her lifetimes. So I'm looking at two different lifetimes. She was in extremely restrictive times and places for females. Okay. One of them was in the Middle East. This has been a fairly recent lifetime too. So, I mean, she kind of hopped quick because normally we don't hop this quick. But this was back in like the I think the life ended in the 40s. So she was probably born closer to the 1900s. And this was in the Middle East. So, I mean, we really are talking about, homes being, and we're talking more of a very rural, primitive area where homes were a series of tents, and, men had multiple wives and they would marry girls as young as 12. And that was the case here in one of these lifetimes. So about age 12, is when she was given away in marriage to a much older man. And she never had any freedom. As soon as she was able to produce babies, she was producing babies. And, it was a very, very difficult lifetime. In fact, she probably had at least three by the time she hit adulthood at age 18. So, I mean, she had an extremely restricted lifetime where, women were not allowed to go in public. Women were not allowed to have friends other than the wives together. They had no rights to their bodies. If they were sick, they never, saw a doctor or got medicine. They stayed very, very, very restricted. And in this lifetime, it honestly looks like her husband murdered her when she was about probably close to 40s. My guess is that he just got tired of her, and he murdered her, and that was it. That was it. Maybe that's what he did when they were no longer able to produce him with children. But so one of these lifetimes was in the Middle East. It was extremely restrictive, so difficult. She was assigned or sold, however you want to look at it, to be married at about age 12. So from 12 on, she had no rights, no right to her body, no right to say what she wanted, no right to speak her opinion, no right for any of that. So it was very, very, very restrictive. Okay, now the other lifetime, interesting enough, involves religion, because this one kind of does. But this other lifetime looks more like it was very fundamental, married very young. It was like almost like a compound. Would probably call them like a cult, but more like a compound for a religion going all the way back. This one was probably early 1700s is what I'm going to say. 1700s, girls were married off again very young. They would go live and almost like apprentice in the husband's house. This was a polygamous group, so you would have more than one. No, wait, they're correcting me. No. Okay. No, it wasn't a polygamous group. Those other women were servants. They were not wives. My bad. My bad. Okay, so this early 1700 one, she would be sent to go live and learn in the house of who she was to be married to, should be trained how to be his wife from his mother, from the servants. And so even though there was only one wife, she would still be sent off at about age, 14, 15, somewhere in there, and be sent to go learn how to be a good wife, how to serve. And so, again, we're looking at a lifetime where she had no real freedom. Now, in the 1700s lifetime, let me tell you, she learned emotional manipulation really well. In the 1700s lifetime, her husband was not so much older as in the Middle Eastern lifetime, but he was older. And she was probably 15, he was probably 25, so maybe 10 years difference. But she learned how to emotionally manipulate him to get what she wanted. It was the only real tool she had, is she could withhold love. And if she withheld love, then, he would be more likely to give her whatever she wanted, because, she could give that love so beautifully and almost make you intoxicated with it. And then she would just turn it off and you would be left feeling very empty because she had withdrawn her love from you. And so she's got these two past lives that she's contending with. So until she heals them, she's going to run from everything. She's going to run from a job. She's going to run from a relationship. She's going to run from home, because it's almost like she's stuck in a fight or flight. And every time that she feels even the tiniest bit restricted, it's going to trigger this for her, and she's going to run. And so she's got these two lifetimes. Okay, does that make sense? And I'll check the... Okay. Okay, Francine, does that make sense for her? Or, I mean, not for her, but does that make sense what I'm saying about her karma and about her needing to run? Okay, this all seems too true about her. Yeah, it's where her karma is, and I still don't see Jackie in our group. Okay, good. Um, this will be her cycle for a while. Again, see it as that paddle in that ball. It goes away and then it comes back, and then it goes away and it comes back. What you have to decide is, don't get hurt here, and don't be the punching bag. Okay, because she's got to work out all this karma, and she does. She needs to work it out. She needs to deal with it. But that doesn't mean that she gets to hurt you from it. So decide where your line is. Decide, in a moment of where you feel pretty peaceful and you're feeling pretty good, decide where your line is of what you're willing to do and what you're not. How many times are you willing to go through this? What are your rules for this? And decide them now, because bless her heart, she's got that restrictive karma on her. And so anytime she feels even the tiniest bit like under rules or under restrictions, her gut instinct is going to be to run for her life, as if her life is in danger, right? And it's not this lifetime, but that doesn't mean she doesn't feel it. So, remember that she picked you to help her through this, but also know where your line is. Okay? All right, so Jackie, I'm still not seeing you in here. We still have to help Paula's friend cross, and then you're the last one on my list. So will you please, I'm checking my Facebook, my email, to make sure there's no message in here that I'm missing. Okay, so if you're in here and you did not get a message, will you please speak up? I'm It's hard to check and see if I got any Facebook messages from her because I have 1,400. Please tell all your contacts in Messenger not to accept the friendship from Jaden Smith. Ah! Stop sending me this. Okay, if you're in this group and you send me that message, because I'm telling you now, don't send it to me. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and move forward. If Jackie checks in, if one of you see her check in or you see her pop in, please alert me, okay? You're very welcome, Francine. My pleasure. Okay, so we have to Paula's friend Robert Bishop help him finish his crossing. Now, what I find so funny about this is that the Archbishop I work with, Bishop Robert, that's his name, and all day today, Bishop Robert's been popping in my head. Bishop Robert, Bishop Robert, Bishop Robert. And of course, I thought it was the guy I know, not realizing it's the guy you know. But that's how spirit works. I guess if I probably changed the words. They were probably saying Robert Bishop. And I'm hearing, oh, Robert the Bishop, Bishop Robert, because that's how that works. Okay, so let's see if we can help your friend. All right, so this is called, it's called different things actually by different people depending on who you listen to. Some people call it soul rescue, and this is where you help a soul cross. Other people will call it just helping souls across. Soul, what's the other one? Soul, I'm going blank on the names. I just call it helping them get across. That's it. There's lots of reasons why someone might stay on Earth. Sometimes, we collectively as humanity have made people so afraid of hell and so afraid of God that we have just countless souls choosing to stay on the earth plane instead of transcending onto heaven because they fear an angry, vengeful God, and then they also fear being sent to hell. And so we've made this so that we have souls that are staying, and that's one reason. Okay, another reason is because they have a checklist, things that they feel like they need to do before they can move on. And so that's quite frequent as well. They have a checklist of things that they need to do. Sometimes, especially if there's, extenuating circumstances, maybe they were sick or they died unexpectedly, they can be confused as to the steps, we make it seem like there's this big light and everybody floats to it. And that's not always the case. Sure, that's the case sometimes. So let's go ahead, and the angels have been getting Robert Bishop for us. So let's see what we can do. Okay, he's talking. Okay. Paula would know what to do, he says. Paula would know what to do. He said, I figured out that I'm dead. I figured that much out. I haven't figured out where to go. I haven't figured out how to get there. And I didn't know, but I knew Paula would know. Paula would know how to do it. And so he figures you would get it, should be able to tell me how to get to heaven. It's kind of funny. I just heard that song. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? That song. It's like except you change it and you say, can you tell me how to get to heaven, please? Can you tell me how to get to heaven, please? And so, yeah, he said, I just, it's like somebody didn't give me the damn map. It's like, everyone else figures this stuff out, and here it is, finally, my turn. Okay, fine. I've come to terms with that. I've come to terms with, I died, and I didn't think I was going to die, and I died anyway. Okay, got that one, check. And then I got to figure out how to get to heaven, except that clearly I missed an exit somewhere, and clearly nobody gave me a roadmap, and clearly my soul doesn't have GPS. he's kind of funny. And so he's all like, what do I do? So then he thought, I'll just go stalk Paula. I figure she'll know. Okay. So we're gonna help you now. Okay. Yeah, he is very funny. He's hilarious. When you said he just started to enjoy his life 4 years ago when he finally came out. You mean came out as gay? Yeah, he's full of them. Because he told me if I couldn't figure that out without you answering that, then I needed help. I was clarifying. Hey, do you want the help or not? You don't be mean to the woman you want the help from. Oh, he's funny. Okay. Okay. He said, damn it, just when I was really getting my shit together. And I apologize. I apologize for the word, guys. But that one had to be verbatim. Damn it, just when I was really getting my shit together. You know what? You're going to love heaven. You're going to love it. Because you're going to have a very captive audience, I promise. Okay? All right. Actually, I think that's a brilliant idea, David. Okay, so David is going to assist us in this. So David is my friend Rita's son. David is in spirit, and so if you happen to know Rita, some of you may from some of the groups we're in together. David, his words, flamboyantly gay, and had a whole routine called Pearl E. Gates, and is just amazing. And he says, David comes back and says, he's one of ours. I'll take care of this. And so Robert is going to go with David. But first, I'm going to... Don't take him yet. I want to talk to him for a minute. Just wait. Okay. Yes, I just wanted to express that, Robert, once you transcend, okay, listen, you can come back and visit anyone that you want, and it will be much easier for them to hear you, feel you, sense you. Right now, the only reason Paula could probably is because she's pretty intuitive. I think that if she were, less intuitive, she would have really struggled. That is why no one else really got it that you were around. But she's intuitive, so she could get it. But others would struggle because you're not fully healed yet. But if you go now and you cross, you fully heal, you can come back, and then you really will be able to communicate with everybody. Yeah, all of your loves. Your love, yes. Yes. It is the best of both worlds. You are correct. Okay. I think I just snorted laughing at him. All right. Pop back in when you're done. Okay. Pop back in. And I want to see you both. No. He's teasing. Oh, David just said, I'm not going to take him to heaven. I'm going to take him to the YMCA. And he's teasing. He's going to take him to heaven, I promise. Oh my gosh, tears. Oh, you know what? Gay men only get better in heaven. Newsflash, they go to heaven. Yeah. All right. Bye, guys. I cannot wait to call Rita and tell her about that. That was hilarious. Robert was freaking funny. I mean, like he had this whole, and I didn't get GPS and nobody gave me a map. Took me long enough to figure out I was dead. And when I did, they're not always this funny, okay? But I mean, this guy was hilarious, and he was trying to be funny. He wasn't sad, he wasn't angry. He was trying to be funny, and he was. He was hilarious. That didn't take very long at all. You're not gonna have to miss him very long. He already has plans on the stuff he's gonna do when he gets back. Yeah, he already has plans for coming back, and it's gonna be quite the show. Woo! What a day job I have, right? Except that it's night. It's nighttime. Okay. Not all crossings are that easy. A lot of them are a lot more difficult, in fact. There have been times I've had to promise on my firstborn that it's not a trick and that that person really can go into heaven now and I'm not trying to trick them into hell. So that was really fun. That was a really fun crossing. I don't get to have fun with them very often, so that was really quite the treat, and it was fast and easy. You don't get better than that, because sometimes it's been hours, especially if you have someone convinced that they're going to hell and that's why they didn't go to heaven right away, is because they're going to hell, and you're trying to convince them again and again and again that they're, they are going to go to heaven, and you can't, and you're trying and you're trying and you're trying and you're trying and trying, and then you got to pull out all the stops. You call on Christ, you call on the archangels, you call on everybody, and finally you start calling their relatives down, like your grandfather. Yes, it is very much, and it's like soul therapy. It's like you're trying to get them to understand you get to go to heaven, and that they don't believe you, they don't believe it, they believe it's a trick, they believe that they had, especially those race fundamental, they had one bite of food too much, so they're going to hell. And so that one was pure joy. Paula, I'm really glad you brought Robert up, because that was pure joy. That was awesome. That was probably the most fun one I've ever seen. Once they connected, once David popped in, and he had this, it was kind of like an angel wing, but it kind of went like an arc, and it was all the feathers. It was all colors like rainbow. Once he popped in and started doing his thing, it got really funny. Really funny. And, yeah, so they're good. They're good. Okay, so one last call for Jackie. One last call for Jackie. You're the only one left on my list. You're the only one left on my list, and I'm looking for emails. I don't see any. Facebook messages. One last call. One last call, sister. One last call. Okay, well then what I will do is I have another gallery coming up in a couple weeks, and I will make sure Jackie just gets a ticket to that one, because for some reason she's not in here. Either a time variance or something came up for her, but I can just give her a ticket to the next one. My plan is to keep doing the galleries at least once a month. For people that can't afford a private session, we can do it like this. I'm going to be moving them to Wednesdays for a while, and the reason why, and I'm sorry, it's a selfish reason why, Game of Thrones starts next week. And so if you're local and you watch Game of Thrones, there's a premiere party at my house. The only rule is Jon Snow is mine. That's the only rule. So, and yes, I watch that trash TV. Sorry to disappoint you. I love it. Okay, so we will go ahead and we've gone about 30 minutes over, so we'll go ahead and end. But I'll offer these once a month. So if you're welcome to come every month, or you're welcome to come once. It's up to you. I will try to download. So, what I did for the last one, I'll try to do for this one, and that is download the video off Facebook and then upload it to YouTube. And that way, you'll always have your messages. Okay. And that way, we can kind of keep them going. Although, oh, gosh, I had to wipe my nose so many times with this tissue. Kind of makes me feel bad. Maybe I could edit that out. Who knows? All right, everybody. Have a fantastic night. And I'm so glad. I want to express my gratitude because I love my work. I do love my work. I get to do work that I love every single day. And I can only do that because of those of you who support me, who have sessions, who come to the galleries, who tell your friends. The only way I can do this is because of you. So I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. So thank you. Have a fantastic night, and I'll see you soon. Namaste.